When you hear China, besides thinking of negativity or the military, you would only know some big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen even, or maybe Guangzhou, and obviously Wuhan because of COVID. But today, I want to show you some of the huge cities in China that you've probably never heard of before and might want to check out. This is Fushan. It's a city that was home to just 758,000 people in 1985. That's now almost the same size as Hong Kong. And yet, despite its population of 7.4 million people, most of us would probably confess that we've never heard of it. You know, this is a story that is repeated time and time again with massive cities across this vast country. And it speaks to the insane urbanization of this emerging superpower over the past 30 years. Quick, sustained, on a huge scale. And all of this is happening while other countries were distracted with their own problems. Ni hao everyone, I'm Lizzie, or as the Chinese people know me, the Lychee from South Africa. These are the massive Chinese cities you've never heard of yet. %60 of China's 1.4 billion citizens now live in cities. But it wasn't always like this. With some of the most productive agricultural land in the world, the population used to be spread across rural areas. But then, in the 1970s and 80s, social and economic reforms triggered the start of a major transition to urban living. And many of the country's small villages transformed into enormous metropolises. Today, more than 113 cities have a population of over 1 million people. And the country is home to more of the world's largest cities than anywhere else. You know, this is a rate of progression that was only really made possible by a long-term strategic plan to control urban growth. Okay, so with the majority of China's large cities concentrated in the northeast prior to the reforms, SEZs, or Special Economic Zones, were established to kind of shift the country's economic center south, while the small and medium-sized cities across China were designated free trade, high-tech, economic and technological development zones to ensure investments from all over. Not just investments, but also jobs and population growth. And this was not just limited to a handful of areas. These widespread and varied economic incentives, coupled with massive government spending on infrastructure to better connect the country, allowed new cities to seemingly grow out of nowhere at a rate that remains unmatched at any time in human history. You know, while the likes of Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Wuhan are now more widely known in the world, dozens of others are yet to achieve the same. You know, despite having enormous populations and also playing an increasingly important role in the global economy. This is Guiyang. It is a classic example of this. Home to 900,000 people before the reforms. It's now a city of 3.4 million people, despite sitting more than 550 kilometers from the sea. Lacking the easy access to global markets that coastal cities enjoy, Guiyang's economy transformed from one centered around machine manufacturing and mining to now services with an emphasis on computing and big data. Foxconn, Microsoft, and Huawei all now run offices in the city. Despite now boasting a modern skyline, Guiyang has also retained many historical sites, including the Qingyang ancient town and the Jiaxiu Pavilion, which have contributed to a growing tourism base. Though still small for China, yes, a city with 3.4 million people is considered small in China. You heard that right. Okay, let's head to the east coast. Here is Wuxi. Wuxi forms part of the Yangtze Delta. that's now home to over 75 million people. Nestled between Shanghai and Nanjing, the city has gone from 850,000 residents in 1985 to 3.3 million today. That's bigger than Athens. When the Wuxi New District was created in 1992, it began to turn the city into one of China's major industrial parks and a center for scientific and industrial innovation. The likes of Siemens, Hitachi, Volvo are all based here. Tourism has played a part in the city's growth, particularly as it boasts one of the world's tallest statues, the 79-meter Grand Buddha at Ningbo. Okay, for comparison, the Statue of Liberty is just 46 meters tall without its base. Okay, so this city, from just 500,000 people in 1984, this is Ningbo, which is also on China's east coast. It is now today the same size as Rome and Montreal, with a population of 4.2 million people. It seems so common to use more than 1 million people in each city in China, but if you look at the rest of the world, it's not that normal. Like, it is bigger than some countries. This is designated as one of 14 open coastal cities. That's a type of special economic zone for port cities. Ningbo now acts as a trade hub for the southern Yangtze River Delta, and since its merger with the neighboring Zhoushan in 2006, it has become one of the busiest ports in the world. As a result, Ningbo also forms a major part, actually, to China's 21st century Silk Road initiative that better connects Eastern China with Europe. You know, like, all these cities are just expanding and getting bigger and bigger. Like, for example, Fushan is a major manufacturing hub. There are more than 3,000 factories in the city, producing more of the world's electrical appliances than anywhere else. Look at it this way. If you've purchased an air conditioner or fridge since 2014, there's a 50% chance that it was made in Fushan. You also get a big city like Jinan. Jinan is now the same size as Barcelona. It grew its population to 5.6 million people, where in 1983, there were only 1.3 million people. Like, Jinan is one of China's main tech hubs. You know, in Jinan, they have the high-tech industrial zone and the export processing zone. There is rapid change going on in Jinan, and it is managed to remain one of the greatest cities in China. Okay, so the conclusion here is, though other countries have of course seen huge growth over the same time, nothing, and it's not even up for discussion, because these are the facts. There is no other country that comes close to either the scale or the pace of what has happened in China since the 1980s. Their role in global trade here in China is just growing. The influence that China has on the world means it's only a matter of time before these cities, before this country just beats every single country in the world. And that is my point today. China just keeps on growing. There is no step back for them. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you remember the names of these cities. If you ever have been to these cities, let me know down in the comments below, because I actually haven't been to these cities. But definitely after making this video, I am more interested to travel there. But yeah, I hope you learned something today, everyone. If you didn't subscribe yet, please do. Become part of the Lychee from South Africa family. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, everyone. From a windy day here in China, have a great day. Bye.